Trader TV, I'm Dominic Piper. Today I'm joined by new Global Lithium Resources Managing Director, Ron Mitchell. Ron, thanks for coming in.
G'day Dom, nice to be here.
Ron, you are new in the role, your first role with a lithium junior, having had a lot of experience in the industry already. The first thing I've got to ask you is the biggest talking point in the lithium space at the minute is the Goldman Sachs analysis of the market and forecast for the market. It's quite negative really on supply-demand fundamentals. What's your take on it?
Yeah, Dom, look, I've been in the sector more than 10 years, and I think the key premise around the Goldman Sachs report is really quite an inflated position around increased lepidolite supply out of China and obviously the impact of that supply into the market, causing a bit of a correction in pricing. Look, I've seen it all in my 10 years of lithium, I can assure you. And even going back 8 years when I was working at Talison, the discussion even then was, well, if prices move to a point too high, then the Chinese are going to move into lepidolite in a big way. But as I've seen in my years, that's never happened. The other point I make is that developing new projects in the lithium space is problematic. It's not easy. You do require a significant amount of technical expertise. Of course, grade is really important in terms of the economics of the project. And lepidolite's quite challenging in a number of processing methodologies, so it's not going to be an easy game, and I certainly, my personal view, given my experience, is that some of the reporting by Goldman is well and truly off the mark.
Yeah, it's very interesting because up until that point we'd seen a fantastic run for lithium equity stocks, lithium prices as we could see them in the market. You mentioned your background in the sector, so you've worked for essentially the big gorilla in the space, in Talison, Greenbushes, and obviously the development right through the company. But then you've taken a step back from there and you've joined Global Lithium, which is, you know, essentially a junior company. What was it that attracted you to Global Lithium and to going into that junior lithium space?
Yeah, great question, one I get asked often. Look, I spent 10 years working for Big Lithium on the terrace, and 5 of those with Talison and the last 6 with Tianqi Lithium. And what I could see in the observations I've made in the sector is that there's very much a shift coming back to the raw material producers. The opportunity to move to a company like Global that's got multiple assets, a really strong board, management team, some great expertise, very well credentialed, and most importantly 2 really highly prospective assets here in Western Australia was an opportunity too good to refuse. I think Western Australia, as we all know, is a fantastic jurisdiction to be mining of any description, but importantly as it relates to lithium, the West Australian jurisdiction accounts for more than 50% of global supply, so a really important market, well branded internationally, and it's one that I think the electric vehicle value chain respects and understands, and will continue to do significant business here. So, yeah.
Can we take a look at the portfolio itself then? You've got 2 projects, as you mentioned, the Marble Bar lithium project up at Marble Bar, and then the Mana project in the Eastern Goldfields. A lot of the initial work was on Marble Bar, but recently you've kicked off work at Mana. Can you explain what's happening up there? Yeah,
really exciting. You know, to officially kickstart the drilling campaign at Mana only in the last couple of weeks has been a fantastic achievement by the team in a very short period of time. We're on schedule, which is important in this market. It's a pretty hot market out in the exploration space. We're very excited about the opportunities that this drilling campaign is going to deliver with regards to the Mana resource. We've got a fantastic starting position in terms of a maiden inferred mineral resource of close to 10 million tonnes at 1.14%. And this drilling campaign is really going to look to expand on that, both from a resource and grade perspective. So really exciting having 2 concurrent, significant drilling campaigns ongoing in 2 fantastic jurisdictions here in Western Australia. So our NOA Geos are very excited, as am I.
And the Marble Bar project, obviously it's in a region that is pretty hot for lithium right now, with not that far from Pilbara Minerals project.
Yeah, well, it's the infrastructure piece is really compelling. The geology in that area needs no introduction. Not just Pilbara Minerals, but Mineral Resources and Albemarle, the joint venture at the Wodgina asset, is also in very close proximity. So we think there's a lot of similarities there in terms of the geological setting. The infrastructure piece, I think, is really important. We've got a sealed road running through our tenement boundaries. And you know, our drillers can come back to Marble Bar each night and have a nice warm bed and a home cooked meal, so that's really important. Keeping our drillers fresh from a HSE perspective, we think that's really important. So yeah, there's we're really getting through our drilling campaign at Marble Bar. We're progressing really well, and we're hoping to conclude the RC drill campaign in Q3, and that'll be followed up with some diamond drilling as well.
There's nothing like a warm bed in Marble Bar, perhaps the warmest beds in the world.
Yeah, well, exactly right. I should have made it a comfortable bed. It certainly beats sleeping in a swag, that's for sure. So our drillers are nice and fresh, which is important.
And so what's the future from here? You've kicked off exploration at Mana. You've got the ongoing RC stuff at Marble Bar. What can we expect to see in the next 6 months?
Oh look, it's an exciting time. Obviously having two concurrent programs running in parallel. Obviously the assays will be coming to market in due course. That's a really exciting time, of course. The results that we're going to bring to market, obviously the diamond drilling, which will kick off very soon. So there's going to be a lot of really positive news flow on the back of that. And of course the market, in my view, is still, the fundamentals are incredibly strong. Again, I just look at my phone and the calendar and sort of the forward meetings I'll have locked in for the next couple of months. There's a lot of interest, and it's global interest. It's not just the China story. There's a lot of Europeans interested, the North Americans, the Koreans and the Japanese. So, and again, getting back to the jurisdiction, how important Western Australia is, and also how important hard rock is in terms of its future supply to market. You know, the spodumene story is a good one. Speed to market's important. The quality of the material in terms of its processing into chemicals is really fantastic. So yeah, I'm going to be kept very, very busy in a couple of months. I'm actually off to the US in a couple of weeks, so lots of excitement over in the US as well.
Is this something in your 10 years that's new, that you see an interest not only from China, but increasingly from the US, from the EU, from Korea and Japan? Is there a real blossoming of demand out there now?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the EV thematic and how that's progressed over time, certainly China's been instrumental in terms of developing that market. Tesla, of course, is a fantastic story as an individual organisation, but if you look at the OEMs on a global basis, you've got four quite discrete jurisdictions. You've got the North Asia story, which is a Toyota, Hyundai story up in Japan and Korea. Of course, China, there's a number of competing electric vehicle manufacturers in China, and then you've got the European thematic. That's really a Volkswagen, BMW, Daimler story, and then of course the US, which is a huge market with enormous potential in Ford and General Motors. So they're all sort of moving progressively, and what's important is that most of those players are all heavily committed to electrification. You know, there's no turning back to internal combustion engine technology in a meaningful way, and that's where the opportunity arises. And consumers are loving these products. You know, I always say in marketing, never underestimate the consumer. The consumer will make the decision for you in most cases, and that's certainly the case for electric vehicle adoption.
On that consumer point, you mentioned the jurisdiction. How important is it that WA is a safe, reliable, clean source of lithium when it comes to those end users?
Well, it can't be overstated. It is fundamental to the success of the industry, and I think the other key point here in Western Australia, and I often make this statement, and it's a valid one, we have the highest level of both commercial and technical expertise on the planet as it relates to lithium development. There's so many suppliers, obviously engineers, commercial guys that have been in this industry, living and breathing it for many years now. So the collective sharing of that knowledge, I think, is really important, and that's what really makes Western Australia a low risk jurisdiction as part of that next wave of supply, because we have all this internal expertise and IP. A lot of other jurisdictions out there simply don't have what we have.
As you mentioned, the rigs are turning up at Marble Bar, and the assay results are starting to flow through. Yeah,
look, as you know, Don, the labs are quite busy, so we're sort of working really hard to get a turnaround on those assays as quickly as we can. But yeah, just announced some further results in terms of batch analysis from some samples that were delivered down to the labs here in Perth recently, and yeah, some really good continuation of those grades and some of the intersect widths. So yeah, we're really pleased. It's tracking well.
Ron, it's a really exciting story for GR1, and it's a really exciting story for WA Lithium. Thanks for joining us today, and hopefully you can come back in the next couple of months and tell us about some of those assay results.
I look forward to it.
Thank you.